Okay, so we're back to it today. I hope you're all keeping well. So we looked at marriage yesterday. Okay, so it's a legally, socially acceptable union between two persons, regardless of sex. Okay, to the exclusion in Ireland of all others. Okay, so up until 2015, a man could only marry a woman and a woman could only marry a man. But with the passing of the referendum, the constitution was changed, and same-sex marriage is now of equal standing, and quite rightly so. So we then looked at marriage customs and cultural variations. We said in Ireland you have to be 18. That's only in the last few years. But in India and the likes, and it pains me to say it out loud, it's horrible, 10-year-olds can get married, and mainly 95% of all marriages can be arranged, or 95% of marriages are arranged in India. Okay, and they used to be in Ireland, and you would meet your spouse, as we know, on your wedding day. Okay, in Ireland we marry for love. Okay, but there are certain constraints or limitations on our choice of partner. Okay, so you can't marry a close family member. So a man couldn't marry his daughter, a woman couldn't marry her son, or a man couldn't marry his son's spouse, for instance, as well. So there's two types there: consanguinity based on blood relationships, and affinity based on marriage relationships as well. Okay, so there's lots of different kind of around the world. There are different kind of, I suppose, customs and variations. Okay, in Ireland, what we're moving on to today is the number of spouses. So we are allowed one spouse to be married. It's enough, I think, at times. So the number of spouses, depending on your culture, it depends. In Ireland, we have one. In other countries, then, and there are programs on the telly. You can look at this. I think Sister Wives is one that I've never watched it now, but he has 3 or 4 wives. He lives over in Utah in the United States, and they're Mormons, the Church of the Latter-day Saints, and men are allowed to have more than one wife. In Muslim tradition, it is a sign of wealth the more wives you have. Okay, as well. And in other parts of the world, because of low numbers of women, that they might marry more than one man, and it's great. And in those countries, they find for farming, there's more men to do the work. And they often marry brothers, or which is quite unusual. We would probably be horrified over here at the thoughts of it, but it seems to work in these countries. We'll have a look at all of this now. So depending on the culture, marriages may be monogamous or polygamous. Okay, so these are new words for us. You might have heard of them, but just be aware. So what is monogamy? It's a form of marriage. You can underline or highlight this. It allows a person to have one husband or wife. Okay, it is the most common form of marriage in Western society and in Christian communities as well. In Christianity, we are encouraged to have one spouse. In monogamous relationships, it is a criminal offence to enter into a second marriage while still legally married even. The act of marrying another person while legally married to another is known as, you can underline this, bigamy. Okay, so bi means two, mono means one, and poly means many. Okay, just to get those kind of terms into your head. Okay, think of a bicycle, it means 2 wheels. Okay, so monogamy, one person. Bigamy is married to a second person. And then in many societies, serial monogamy is common, especially in the likes of Hollywood, for instance. Okay, so you're basically going from one relationship to the other all the time, that you are with one person at a time, but it doesn't last for very long. Okay, so it involves individuals marrying and divorcing different people many times. I think the world record for most marriages, I think, is about 31 marriages. Which is unusual. I don't know if I'd give that person a chance if he had told me that he'd been married many times before. I wouldn't place all my money on a bet, but who knows. So the likes of Hollywood stars then, Liz Taylor, she was a very famous Hollywood actress. She was married 7 times, twice to the same man. She remarried him after divorcing him, etc. And you'll find that perhaps people, just go from one relationship to another. Okay. So that's monogamy, one person at a time. Polygamy then, around the world, is also practiced. Polygamy is a form of marriage that involves having more than one partner at the same time. And people who participate in this practice, they are known as polygamists. Okay? And there are 2 types. There are polygyny, and polyandry.